which is how to use TPKs, also known as total party kills.
You punish your players. That's why you use them. Being idiots.
Yeah.
First level players, I killed a dragon. Oh, really? You really want to fight this thing? It could eviscerate you in one hit? Yeah. All right.
Yeah, there you go.
Boom.
No, you're getting into it.
Yep,
so how to use total party kills. And this may sound weird to you. Because a lot of times total party kills are kind of seen as like a sin of the DM. Like if the whole party dies, you as the DM have wronged your players. But that isn't really the case, in my opinion. And there are things to consider on doing them right and wrong and ways that they really can be used. And obviously you shouldn't just like be like, all right, on this session I'm going to kill them all. You shouldn't do that. There's only like a couple situations.
Why would you do that? All right, guys, you're all going to die, so get prepared.
I mean, one idea around that would be like if the campaign is about a after death type thing.
Yeah, no, that's what I was about to say. I was about to say, like, how you can use one of them is, like, not really Suicide Squad them, but, like, they all get killed in the beginning.
Yeah.
And they go, like, full-on Death Knight mode, and they gotta, like, fight their way back to get revenge or to stop the bad thing.
Yeah, something like that.
So, like, something cool like that would be sick. You guys are all, like, undead or stuff like that, and you gotta go back and, fight
Yeah, so you could have a campaign where, like, it starts, where, like, session 1, you kill everyone. That's you can do that. But what I'm going to talk about, and maybe you as well, I don't know what you prepared to talk about, is how to kind of deal with ones that aren't like that. Ones that kind of come up where it's like you roll the dice and you're like, did I just kill everyone? What am I going to do? Stuff like that. What to put into account. I mean, I'm messing up my phrases today.
Basically, if you accidentally TPK your party, how do you deal with it?
Sure. Okay.
Well, I think it's pretty simple. Just don't do it.
Well,
just say, yeah, you guys take half the damage.
But sometimes it happens. Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to counter that. I'm going to counter that. So, but to start, I would like to say that we don't want total party kills to be meaningless. That is when they're problematic. Is when you just come up on, it's like, oh, yep, you found a giant, big red dragon, and yes, it...
I'm dying.
You're always sick. And yes, the dragon kills you. That's when it's like, DM, why did you have us encounter? Like, how were we supposed to know there was one around the corner? You know what I mean? That's when it's like, okay, well.
Yeah. You didn't know, like, you just turn the corner, instant death,
Yeah.
Booby trap, yeah.
And now, so you want them to be meaningful. A meaningless one will just make the whole campaign be like, ugh, like, why? But sometimes that's not the case, and it's okay. You should at least try. Like, sometimes the enemies roll really well, and the players roll really bad, and you gave them a couple life preservers, and not all of those burned up by chance, and it's like, dang, guys just died. That's okay. That happens. And those can actually be good. And so what I really want to get here is you don't want to avoid them. You don't want to, like, make them this thing that your players know will never be done. You don't want that, because when that's the case, it takes a lot of the tension of your campaign out. The possibility of a TPK should always be there. And so if you save your players in a way that shouldn't be done, then you are ruining you're devaluing your next campaign. So the enjoyment of your next campaign is on the line when you're encountering a TPK. You need to see it through. You cannot just say, oh, the dice rolled bad. Let's just say it didn't happen. No, you can't do that.
You gotta be merciless. Show
you
mercy
can
to your
if you
players.
want, but you're sacrificing your next campaign.
No, be quiet. DM, show no mercy. Do what the dice says. The dice speaks the truth. If it says kill your party, kill your party. No prisoners, no mercy.
Sure. The immersion of your next game is at stake, so don't avoid them. But there are ways of avoiding them. Sorry, I just said don't avoid them. There are ways of... don't avoid them in a way your players can see. There are ways of avoiding them in ways your players can't see, like introducing basically safety nets that are there that you've set up in case of a problem, and that may be in the form of NPCs or in the form of like plot points you fit in. And so maybe they have like maybe they met another party that is trying to do the same thing they're doing, and they're in competition. And now, if your party does get absolutely massacred by the red dragon, maybe you could have the other party show up and be like, we're here to fight the dragon too. What? Wait, you guys are already here? But so then, in a sense, they kind of saved them, even though they're in competition, and so it's something your players wouldn't expect, but still make complete sense.
So you walk up to like other adventures, they're like, "We're about to kill what the?"
Yeah, but you have to set that up beforehand, and so if you're ever worried about a total party kill, these are things you can do to set it up. Like you can fit in little plot points or have NPCs that will, help them maybe if you need them to, but don't always do this. Sometimes you just gotta have a good risk. You gotta risk it. Okay, but I want to talk about why they're good. I kind of already talked about it, but there's two things that really make a TPK like a completely fun part of the game. Do you want me to just say them? Is there anything you want to add to that part of it?
Not really.
Okay,
I mean, what I was basically going to talk about is like how to use them in a good way.
Okay, yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Well, that's yeah. Okay. We're about to get there. Okay, so why they're good. And so if you do kill your party members, even if it was random and there's no meaning, at a base level there is meaning in that they learned something, hopefully. You can at least give them something to learn from. And the most obvious example is they just didn't plan well enough, right? Like, next time, maybe go in with a plan. Don't just barge in. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. It's like, they're just goblins. Let's run in. It's like, well, you didn't do any reconnaissance. Obviously a goblin den is going to have way more goblins than it looks like. Stuff like that. And so it's a learning experience. So there's that. And it can be a learning experience for players, but also for the DM, where you can say, okay, that was OP. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Okay, that's one way that they're good. The other one is they can be a great way to end a campaign, because you can have that heroic ending.
I have actually done that before. So
nice.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of not doing anything as a DM, but more like seeing what happens. Like, maybe you can set it up. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, if you can make it heroic, then it won't seem bad, right? Like, if they died saving the village from the dragon attack, and on the last breath, the paladin pierces the dragon's heart and then dies as the dragon dies, and their souls move to the afterlife together.
Unless that paladin becomes a Death Knight, hell-bent on killing all dragons.
Right. Well, they wouldn't if they're good. But that's cool. That's a TPK that doesn't feel bad. It's like, wow, those characters genuinely had a good ending, and now we can start another campaign. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. It doesn't have to always be a happy ending. It just needs to be satisfying. Mm-hmm. And sometimes everyone dying is satisfying. I'm trying to think of an example of that, but like in a movie or something. I'm sure there are.
I mean, I would kind of think.
Oh, like, Rogue One. I don't find any of the new Star Wars satisfying. Sorry, opinion. But that one wasn't terrible.
Yeah, I mean, they did just say, yeah, we got the information, then they just got nuked, so.
Like, yeah, but they did their job. It was kind of a suicide mission.
Well, what I was kind of thinking about was, like, kind of like an endgame type. Like, they did fail, but, like.
Oh, but, yeah, that's one.
That was a satisfying.
That's satisfying. I mean, so, yeah, you can have emotion. That, but basically everyone dying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and make sure you give them the win, though. Don't have them all die, and then don't have them all die in a heroic way, and then in the end, you say, like, yeah, that didn't work. You guys died. You wouldn't have known this, but it didn't work. Don't say that. Like, give them the win.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, what I was thinking is, like, if you do have a TPK, have your next campaign be, like, the aftermath.
That's a really good
if, like, the villains won, what happens? Is the world a apocalypse? Is there a bad dictator
And maybe
now?
you, like, hear stories about the old players, like the saviors or
or you might even go back to, like, where they died and you see, like, the old players' remains. That would be cool.
The paladin's sword is, like, in stone as, like, a statue or something.
Or that one player that had, like, a super magical item but they know it's there, so they're not trying to like metagame. They're like, I'm just gonna look over there by that stone underneath that amount of rubble, looking for anything nice, and then like DM's like, why would you do that? It's like, oh, I don't know. I mean, it just seems like I really want that hammer.
Yeah, that could be done. Yeah, there's a lot of ways. I mean, if you want to, like, obviously you have, like, the dream sequence that you can do. If you want to, like, bring those characters back, it's like you wake up, it's all a dream. You can do that. You could do it where they all wake up in the afterlife, like World of Warcraft style, where they have to fight their way back to their bodies or something.
That's a cool one. Or they kind of, like, wake up and then God's like, hey, before you go to the afterlife, I need you to do something. Go kill that thing. And then you start, like, a whole new quest line.
True.
In the afterlife.
Yeah, so that's really cool.
That'd be cool.
But obviously, you can't do that every single time. Otherwise, death is meaningless. So only like you can't do it every time unless you have players that don't play with you. But yeah, it's basically how you can use a total party kill.
Yeah.
You got anything else?
I kind of had a way. It's like if you want to see like a afterlife, so Mount Celestia, Nine Hells, instead of going there having like your death, having you dying and you going there with your soul, it's like a lot more interesting, in a sense. Like I feel like TPKs can be used to explore strange new worlds.
I see.
Faraway places. So yeah, so as
Nice.
DMs, you guys could do that. So